It's the 4th of July, so we're going to hit you with some European SCL action, of course. Next up, we have Barrage versus RvL, the two top cards. Barrage taking a spill, though, against Excellence in that last matchup. Something that Tully and I thought would happen eventually, but looking really solid.
Yeah, you know, like you said, these guys are really evenly matched, Barrage and RvL coming into it. These guys are some of the top teams. You can see that even reflected in the standings. But here's the deal. You just mentioned Excellence took a game off of Barrage, which is a little bit wonky. Meanwhile, RvL in some of our rescheduled games looked absolutely phenomenal, specifically Rapio looking nuts.
Yeah, that first matchup was really dominating. Now, it was against XL, who have yet to find a win, so it's a little bit understandable. There's a clear difference between the top end and the bottom end on that one here, but up against Barrage, it's not going to be as easy. And I was pretty heavily touting Watson for a while, and don't get me wrong, I still think Watson is phenomenal, but Predators in that last matchup shows that he's not just kind of running away with the EU solo laner meta anymore.
Well, what we've seen here with the development of the SCL is pretty much exactly what a lot of us analysts had predicted. When you come into a league, teams really get more accessibility to routine practice and an understanding of each other's play. So back when it's just sort of odd leagues and odd tournaments here and there, Watson is able to stand out above the crowd. But when you're going week in, week out against the teammates and the opponents you're expecting, players get to sort of catch up, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
Speaking of leagues, though, a little bit of a reminder. Next Wednesday, July 6th, we have a pretty important show, guys. Fall Split going to have 400% more lands, and we're going to divulge all the information and all the changes we're making to our format. And this is going to be something that I think everyone's going to be pretty excited and pumped for. It's going to be a phenomenal end to Season 3.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've been playing around with you guys, but seriously, Wednesday, 4 p.m., it's where everything gets told. I have been told that I can't really say anything anymore.
Oh, just say something real quick.
I mean, well, basically, it's going to go like this. Definitely want to make sure you tune in to watch.
It's going to be great, guys. Let's get into P's and B's. It's going to be Game 1, RvL taking on Barrage. Barrage going to be first pick in this game.
So, judging the way that these teams have both been playing, we saw RvL play earlier on, and they were very much against this traditional SPL type of composition where you're looking for the burst damage the setup coming from jungle and support by way of Naja and Bacchus, and then Thor and Bacchus, and then throw a Scylla or really anybody that could just go bang in the middle lane.
And they're actually going to be countering that too with their picks and bans here. Scylla going to be locked away, Susano taken away, and that's kind of expected. Same with Ao Kuang. I'd say the Ao Kuang and Susano are pretty meta picks.
Yeah, those are just the bans you got to take off the table. A little bit too strong. The Scylla pick specifically targeted at Atonement. He's been wrecking it. And then the Guan Yu sort of fits in with the AK and the Susano, where it's just like, is it targeted at somebody? I mean, you play it well, but it's really just, hey, man, leave us alone with the Guan.
First pick, Raijin. We've seen this pretty often here where it's kind of Guan, Ao Kuang, Susano banned away, and then Raijin just gets through. And there's like that flavor ban, right, which is kind of the Scylla here against Atonement here. RvL going to answer back immediately with the Bacchus and Nem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is right away what we were looking for. They're looking to go in, jump on someone with Bacchus, ultimate with them with Nemesis, and then press some sort of supplementary button to delete whoever the target is. So RvL right away showing their cards they want to burst composition.
It's going to be trouble for Raijin, but I mean, if Barrage can initiate, which it seems like that's what they're looking to do, they have the Athena, they have the synergy, that synergy between their jungle and support, and they've also drafted a Neith, so that double global coming from Barrage, something that RvL's going to have to think about every single fight.
And I always liked the Neith. Neith has always been one of my favorite hunters to pair with Zeus, a character that is very potent, but he gets into a lot of problems because he just doesn't have the escapability options. Raijin has the escapability option, but a lot of players like to use that to be offensive. Neith provides safety in the middle lane for a god that doesn't necessarily have it baked in.
Ooh, Zhong locked in, and this is actually, I think it was RvL that did play this composition the previous week, and they did it against a Sobek Awilish, and the whole idea is that their core, their Nim, Zhong, and Bacchus, they're just so tanky that you can initiate on them, but they still don't die.
So I love what RvL did here, and I'm glad you brought that up, because the Bacchus Nemesis, as I said, all right, Team Rival, you showed us your hand. You're going for the super burst. Zhong is not super burst. They're just trying to outlast. And even the Guan Yu ban on the side of Team Rival, just going with that sneaky, we're trying to surprise you with this. So the Zhong pick should throw Barrage a little bit of a curveball, and I want to see, after picks and bans on the battlefield, how Barrage deals with the outlast comp.
Well, Rival here with their Nemesis, they don't want to deal with Odin, so they ban that away, and Akali is a direct target ban at proxy.
Yep.
It's only been played once, and it was in the last match we saw, so they don't really want to deal with that late game carry. On the other side, Barrage, they've got their Neith, so taking out Hou Yi and Apollo, taking away that Apollo, I think, more so that they have that global on their end.
Exactly. You've got the Athena, you've got the Neith, who Athena's like the true global. Neith is like 75% global. The ability's going to come, but she's not. Apollo is the full global. At some point, you just got to say, look, we don't want 7 people in the lane, so just chill out. No more globals. Tier's going to go up against Ravana, and then the party monkey Hun Batz in the jungle. Barrage's composition is weird. If you look at it, right away, there's nothing that jumps out at you. But I think if you dissect this composition a little bit, you really find out what Barrage is looking for.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. They've got a fair amount of CC, right? Not only the Neith ult, but the Fearless, the Fear No Evil, the taunts on a low cooldown for Athena, and then Raijin even, right? He can taunt in his ultimate. There's so many purification burners on the side of Barrage, and then all they have to do is send that Neith arrow over there, and they just have that massive global presence. However, Rival, they did pick up Xbalanque in the last spot, so they have that Darkest of Nights, which is a pretty good counter-engage tool.
Yeah, so that's what Team Rival's going to be looking for. And, you know, it's interesting. I'm not sure if Rival was necessarily going for the Xbalanque here.
I think that was just the perfect pick in the end.
Exactly. I think they had something different on their mind, sort of looking for this outlast composition. But then when they saw all of the tools that Barrage have at their disposal to really just disrupt, you go with the Xbalanque and you say, all right, you drop the Fear No Evil, we drop Darkest of Nights, and everybody's got the lights turned off. What's going to happen?
So Tolly and I have been doing this thing since you've been gone. You and Hindu have been gone. It's just us.
Since you've been gone.
So it's spot the shenanigans. So we go into a game and go like, all right, what's some shenanigans here? So spot the shenanigans.
So, I mean, ward placement generally pretty standard. Barrage definitely taking a little bit more attention to the left side Harpies, which means we might see some shenanigans on the left side.
I don't think we'll see any shenanigans. That was a trick question, Tom.
Well,
there was no shenanigans yet. Maybe there's
no shenanigans yet, but with the wards, so with the heavy attention to the left side mid camps, I was a little. Maybe we might see a mid camp start. Does that even count as shenanigans these days? Because some teams just start mid camps.
I guess it depends what you do after it.
Sure.
If you invade off of that, yeah, then it's shenanigans. But doesn't seem to be the case. Neither team starting mid Harpies. However, Rival, like you said, they got that word on it. So if Barrage elect to do it or leave it open, they are going to have that option here. Heading into the mid lane gear, going to be Elexum.
These are the anti-shenanigan wards. They want to make sure nobody's making nonsense.
The shenanigans are the fact that there are no shenanigans, and they've guaranteed that there will be no shenanigans.
Oh my goodness. Right away, we see the aggression in the mid lane coming out from Elexum. And Atonement here. Zhong is a character that we see not too often. He's really, I think he kind of hits his stride in the mid game more than anything else.
Really about those team fights. Trouble in the left-hand side, though, all getting very low, trying to make something happen there against Headhunter, forcing his jump away. And I mean, this is going to be fine, I think, for the Athena. Already forced the meditation coming up from Bacchus, and they've got the Neith, so they've got the superior lane dominance.
Zenborne has shown that he's ready to pop that meditation very, very early, similar to like Raffer. Just wants to keep things competitive in lane. Speaking of competitive, nice jump coming out from the Bacchus, but it's going to be taunted right into the damage.
Could have taken a spill there if we saw the autos from Headhunter connect, but still, it's just the lane dominance that they're looking for. The potion's already coming out. Right-hand side Harpy's actually going to Rival in the meantime. You could see Barrage just a hair too late.
Yeah, there's not a lot of. It's interesting, actually, Kevin. A lot of players and fans will tell you.
Trouble for Atonement right now. And actually, the jump in the slow, and that's going to be first blood over to prOxyQQ. Great initiation and chain CC coming out from Barrage.
And that right there is a result of what I was just going to talk about. Almost every single pro or high-level player, what do we call them, avid viewers?
Avid viewers.
They're going to tell you the game is really centered around mid-level pressure right now. And when you're talking about Nemesis and Zhong, that's the antithesis of early game aggression. There just is none.
Yeah, I mean, every guy with, you know, a bagel in the morning watching these games, they know that mid pressure is so essential. And you can already see Barrage taking advantage of it. And they've made this rotation over to the dual lane. However, the back has already happened, so Headhunter and Zenborne are going to be full health. But still, this Hunbat's kind of sitting around here. He's level 5.
Yeah, he's got the Fear No Evil. Proxy's got the Fear No Evil and the Red Pot, and he's ready to go. prOxyQQ is going to jump on in here, looking for the engage without the jump. There's a taunt right to the Fear No Evil. Overhand smash, and a monkey not going to catch up. Headhunter's fine.
Going to be chasing him down, but not going to be enough damage there. Maybe burning that CC a little bit too much. Barrage probably should have looked to bait out kind of the Xbalanque's beads, I think, to begin with, and then follow up with the Fear No Evil. However, still, they do get it, so 160-second cooldown on that Xbalanque. He's going to be open to those ganks once again. And now it's actually a counter coming out from Rapio. He's going to go deep there. Neith, oh, she's already backflipped. But the Nemesis actually can't find the spacing, doesn't want to chase it down. Yeah,
he used one of the dashes there. I think even with the second dash, you would have found the Nemesis in range of the damage, but nobody else would have been. And the Nemesis definitely not at the point this early on with literally just a Bumba's mask to really kill anybody so far.
Oh, perfect timing actually coming out as both solo laners back. The call is made and the speed buff getting invaded. Nemesis on the left-hand side of the map actually just getting the red for his mid, and it's going to be the first successful jungle invade for Barrage. They're looking for the blue buff as well, and either solo laner, they don't know this is going on.
You know, you can trace this back all the way to the first blood of the mid lane. Lack of mid lane pressure makes that gank on the left side happen, which makes the counter gank from Rapio happen, which means Barrage has all the information the junglers on the left side, able to come transition to the speed and the blue buff. And these are the things that make all these little engagements, all these little scrums very, very important.
And even though there's no action on the solo lane, Watson already finds himself with about a 300 gold lead. And that's just going to help off that next blue buff he's going to pick up as well. So really good start to him. He actually kind of got manhandled by Predators tier in that last set. So he's on the tier himself this time. So he's going to want to take advantage and abuse that as much as possible.
300 gold lead on the solo laner, 500 gold for the first blood, and then look at the difference between these two teams. 1,500, 1,400 gold, right? That right there. You have 800 gold from the lead in the solo and the first blood. The remaining gold, that's the jungle invades.
This could be trouble for Elexum though. Oh, he is going to get knocked up, but not in time actually. Really nice thunder crash. That timing was absolutely just frame perfect. I think if Elexum is like a second too late, like less than a second late there, he getting knocked up. But it seemed like Rapio actually didn't even want to force that. Probably could have looked to do it. Instead, though, just holds onto his ult.
Yeah, I respect that play from Bacchus, and I respect that play from Elexum. Basically, Elexum has to dash away before Bacchus even jumps on him.
Yeah.
So you have to hard read that. And then that's, like you said, Rapio wasn't really there. If I'm Zenborne, I'm going for every single belly flop. You get a little bit of damage, and then you try it again. That's the whole nature of what Bacchus wants to do, like a Sobek. And that's Zenborne's god, pretty much, is Sobek. So watching him on the Bacchus works hand in hand.
And the rotation coming in, you could see Xbalanque and Bacchus finally pushed up in the dual lane here. Proxy just trying to get some poke off, doesn't really have the follow-up to finish off Atonement. However, the rotation is coming in from the Raijin, but trouble on the left-hand side. Neith just barely getting that backflip off. Should be stunned, though, from this. Intoxicate is activated. Athena ult going to negate a lot of damage, and it's actually going to be the Xbalanque diving on her tower. Not going to be enough, and this is going to be trouble. The rotation coming in. Taunt connects onto Zenborne, and here's the Raijin. He's going to actually Thunder Crash aggressively. There's the ult. 1, 2, 3. Looking for the 4th max range. Not going to be enough damage, but the Neith ult should help secure.
Yeah, Neith is going to go ahead and not clean that one up. Narrowly avoided by a long-range block by one of the players up front, probably Rapio. As you can see, his health is just gone, but Atonement has made the rotation, and Barrage wants nothing else to do with it. Fantastic defense coming out from the guys on Barrage to deal with what Rival threw at them.
Maybe a little bit of greed coming out from that Raijin there. Probably could have taunted that first one and guaranteed the follow-up, but because he went straight for the damage, he didn't get the CC and just shy there. The Neith ult, though, not exactly sure who blocked it, but I mean, props to them because that Bacchus was dead.
Yeah, when you're next to the target that's getting Neith ulted, you can just sort of stand in front and it's nice and easy. When they're all the way down the lane, you have to judge the Neith versus your teammate. That's tough. And like I said, Rapio, I saw him very low. I'm pretty sure it was Rapio. Just add another one onto his highlight reel today. He's been out of his mind today.
And the invade's not going to be happening this time. RvL actually grouping up and making sure that their speed buff is secured as a team after losing it the last time. And Proxy, this is interesting. We actually see him going very aggressive against Atonement all the time, just trying to get some poke, but it's on to a Zhong who's going to be able to heal up.
Proxy's been aggressive since 2012, man. This is just his whole mentality is just hyper-aggression. This is the guy that brings Hebo, the guy that brings Xbalanque into the jungle once upon a time. Like, he's always looking for these aggressive plays.
I know. Did he do Isis jungle? Was he the guy?
He did Isis jungle before Zero's made it cool.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't think did Zero's do Isis jungle? I mean, outside of the recent split. I mean, before he did the Vulcan and the Giannis for sure.
Yeah.
Dirty mage player, man. He was built for. He was made for the mid lane.
Proxy has always been just this hyper aggressive guy. And if you're curious what we're talking about, Proxy used to play on the SK team that eventually turned into Fnatic. And I mean, that roster stayed together for so long. Proxy was replaced essentially by Zeros. So you can trace that all the way back going to the launch tournament and beyond. So Proxy now in the SCL.
Trouble for Awe. Oh, he has no dash, and that was called out here. He's trying to get his ult off, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that was just perfect execution and rotation from RvL finally on the board.
I'm glad that he held his ult. Like you said, he looked for the ult for a moment and then realized he was toasted anyway and then just didn't go for it. Doesn't want to put that on cooldown. As soon as he's alive, he's going to be able to either ult back to the team fight or just come right on up. It's 8 minutes in, man. 6 seconds left before
and that could be a thing, honestly. If he ults to lane, he doesn't really lose any XP or farm. Obviously, RvL get a little boost from it, but it's not that massive. Really, when you get a kill, a lot of times it's about the other team losing farm more so than you gaining, you know, a little bit of XP and gold, especially when split three ways. Yeah,
I mean, it's a 5-on-5 game. Anytime you can put somebody in the box and create a position where you just have numbers advantage, one, you're denying the opportunity for them to gain farm, and also two, you can take that advantage and put it into a different spot. So you see the Athena goes home, and Team RvL can't do anything about it because it's so early, but later on, that's when you see the objectives come out, and this, that, and a third.
It's that hockey power play, man. You got the numbers advantage, gotta abuse it. Gold Fury, though, here hasn't been looked at by either team, warding in favor of RvL for now, and they're actually rotating around it pretty heavily right now. Maybe just making sure that Barrage isn't going to get anything going, and you could see RvL, you know, you talked about at the beginning where they're really looking for this, you know, late game kind of sustain comp. They've got the Zhong for the team fights, same with Bacchus, and then they have their Nim and their Xbalanque, where the later the game goes, the better these characters get.
Exactly, and you know, the Nemesis late game just becomes so scary because Nemesis for 90% of the game is just a walking ult bot, right? She's going to hit you a little bit, but it's just ult. And then that last 10%, it's like, all right, guys, now I've got 6 items. I'm finally relevant beyond my ultimate. And you just start getting hit by this Mack truck. You're not used to it because she wasn't hitting you hard earlier. You're getting ulted and getting hit by everything. And like you said, Team RvL definitely looking to bring this one to the late minutes.
And it seems like Neith actually isn't too opposed to that. Going into the Transcendence, you only see that. So we have seen like that Transcendence versus Golden Bow. What's better? But the Golden Bow is kind of won out. But still, these players, certain ones will transition and still get that Transcendence in the mid game here.
So it's a completely greedy build as we see Barrage trying to fight over these mid camps. Proxy drops the ultimate. Zenborne going to be walking into a wall, but still goes aggressive, drops down the ultimate, and Elexum going to fire down the corridor.
It's not enough to find any kills, though, and Neith just ulting, but it's not going to be enough to secure a kill either. And still, here's Watson in the middle of 3, going to find the knock-up, looking for the Fearless, and he can't be CC'd out of it. Catches one more at the end. The taunt helps Proxy secure Headhunter, and the jump in the sky by Gnome, he's just going to kill himself. Tried to answer back from Proxy, but overall, a 3-for-0 unanswered for Barrage.
Like we said, it's not about Watson getting worse. The players are just catching up, but at the end of the day, Watson still has the battle vision to find these double Fearlesses, finish them up with the combo, and just literally turn the page of the match by himself. That team fight without Watson's tier goes a completely different way, and then this team fight without Watson's tier goes a completely different way. Before Watson gets in the aggressive, pushes the enemy away, gets kills so they can get the Gold Fury. This time around, Watson plays defense, pushes the enemy away from his team so everybody can retreat. No lives lost. Barrage up 3 kills, and it's 4-1, and the gold looking pretty as well. Excellently played.
4K gold lead, 4K experience lead, and that's actually starting to come into play pretty significantly. You talk locked up Watson there. He's got 2 levels over the Robin. The Neith has a level. The support's got a level. That's not too serious, but, you know, it's just this little bit. And I mean, if Barrage can find another win off that, that's when RvL is in a whole lot of trouble. Right now, they don't have their second relics online, which is kind of a big part of Barrage there. They didn't really even need to burn them, but if RvL have, you know, just that one extra level in that situation, they're going to have those team fighting relics, but unfortunately not online.
I am a little bit, so I don't want to say worried because Barrage is in such a dominant position here. Athena has yet to buy her relic. This absolutely must be a shell, Kevin. This absolutely must be a shell. Zhong right now doesn't matter. You can straight up say he doesn't matter. But 5-6 minutes from now, that Warlock Sash is going to be finished. He's going to start stacking it, and he's going to start to matter very, very quickly. And when those team fights come out, if there's no shell to mitigate those ghosts, well, it's going to be trouble for Barrage.
And it's also, I mean, if he goes into that the Gym of Isolation, which we see a lot go into, it's going to be even harder for them to get away. Trouble right now for that Bacchus. He's actually surrounded, and Elexum finishes off Zenborne, but in the meantime, Watson over on the right-hand side, surrounded 3v1, does get the heal off, and this is good for him. Even if he dies right now, it's going to be a tier 1 in mid for Barrage.
And Watson will get the assistance from the Athena.
He's still alive.
The Neith ultimate as well. Watson alive for the moment before Zenborne Atonement comes over, takes out the solo laner, and then here comes Proxy with the cavalry.
He actually teleported, and actually Elexum trying to swing it away, but it's not going to be enough. Speed buff should be invaded, and they actually gave up on the tier 1 in mid. We do see the Neith still there, but they could just look straight for that tier 1 on right. There's already minions. They might even be enough to finish it off. That was such a massive fight and win for Barrage, even though they're the only one to drop a player.
RvL played that really intelligently. You know, you say it's a win for Barrage, and it totally is, but it could have been a much larger win for Barrage. RvL plays the hot potato of their mid tower and the fight over the right side. They played it pretty perfectly. They put Xbalanque and 2 players there in the mid lane to dissuade Barrage from going ham in the mid. Then Barrage decides to shift over to the right. Everybody leaves except for Xbalanque because he recognizes Neith is still there. Well played.
Atonement there. A little bit of trouble for him, actually forced to Purify. 160-second cooldown, and if I'm Proxy now, he's got his ult. He could look to abuse that, and Barrage sitting pretty good spot right now. They got 2 towers they could look at, so they could be looking for picks and maybe to force that, or they could wait for some power spike items to be completed.
I think it's going to be the latter, most definitely. The power spikes are what, honestly, it doesn't matter what team you're talking about right here. Team RvL wants to find their power spike. They want to get the Nemesis and the Zhong actually relevant. 4 stacks on that Warlock Sash, now 9, wave by wave, definitely wants to build that up, and that's when RvL is going to be in it. They've got 2 kills, and that's not because they're doing terribly. It's because their composition just isn't supposed to really find kills before 15 minutes.
And this could be trouble, actually. Looking at the Hunters, you can see Neith just finishing off her Transcendent, so that's going to be stacked up while it's Soul Eater on the other side, and you're just going to be doing more damage with the Transcendent. Obviously, there's the heal component for Headhunter, but I mean, Neith's got self-sustain anyway.
And that's what I love about this build. It's incredibly greedy, but look, basically the reason that this Transcendence build works out is because Barrage recognized the game that Team RvL want to play. They want to play this long. They want to drag the laning phase out to 20 minutes. Some teams want to end the laning phase 10 minutes, Gold Furious, let's go. This situation, this is an 18-minute laning phase. Neith sees that, can take advantage of it, buys the Transcendence, has the built-in sustain for the laning phase, and her ultimates and her Spirit Hours are just going to wind up hitting really hard.
And there's some multiple member stacking here. We already talked about the Transcendence. We've got the Book of Thoth online for Raijin and a Warlock Sash, but continuing to be aggressive there. Only going to find Zenborne on the taunt. Good for Atonement, but Proxy's made the rotation. They could have looked for that Zhong. He didn't have Purification online, but a little bit scared to pull the trigger.
I like the play by Proxy saving the ultimate. We mentioned he was very, very aggressive, and I think this is, you know, the maturation of Proxy saving that ultimate, realizing there's no way that's a kill. 2 of his teammates are a little bit too far away down the mid lane. He's only going to be able to get 1 player from RvL in the aggressive push forward from the totem drop. So hang on to it until next time, where you're guaranteed the kill.
And they were looking for the taunt onto Atonement there, but just able to space himself well enough, and that's going to be really important for the Zhong. He needs to not get picked off. He's not as tanky, you know, as his build might imagine. Proxy going to get knocked up, stunned as well. Pops his Purification, and he should be able to get out of this, and he gets the Xbalanque ult for it, so slight win for him.
Purification is a pretty big deal, though. That's going to be rough for Proxy without those bees.
At least he didn't die.
Very true.
At least he didn't die.
And again, no ultimate.
Actually holding it. So a lot of presence of mind from him. This is, I think you said, kind of this evolved proxy who normally just wants to fight nonstop, just wants to engage. But this time here against RvL being a little bit more respectful, I would say. Gold Fury has respawned Barrage. They could look to force it. You can see all members have their double relics. The Bacchus just hitting 12. He's going to head back to base. And he's going to grab that shell, so pretty important for him. The shell was picked up on the Athena, so that direct counter to the Zhong.
This next Gold Fury is going to be the most important, the most pivotal point of this game. Right now, Team RvL, like we said so many times, they're looking to stay into the late game. They're not supposed to get kills before the 17-minute mark. None of this is supposed to happen. 5,000 gold, you can mitigate. You let this Gold Fury go the way of Barrage, it's going to be very tough. And it goes the way of Barrage. Team RvL down now 6,000 gold, and this is going to be an uphill battle. Before, like I said, you're dealing with 4,000 gold lead with a late game composition. All right, no problem. We can deal. 6, 7, 8, that's where you got to say, yes, we have a late game composition, but how steep of a climb can we make it?
Well, with the Raijin ultimate down, it seems like RvL want to get something, but it's a 4-man taunt. All in trouble, but fear no evil. Perfect from Proxy. Zenborne still in their tower, and Elexum's going to secure the kill, but Rapio once again in that jungle position, just diving into the back line, and Watson with the blue stone actually cleans up Atonement. RvL tried to force something, but they're going to get turned on. 2-man overhand smash, and Headhunter trying to get out, and there's the Neith ult to secure the stun and the kill. Gnome can't fight into this, and overall, it's a 3-for-1, now a 4-for-1 for Barrage.
You want to talk about us? Oh my goodness. How many times did we compliment Proxy for not blowing his ultimate in a situation where most players would? That right there, so good for Barrage that the ultimate is online. Proxy's able to push it forward, and this right now, RvL are fighting an uphill battle with the Gold Fury and this team fight going the way of them. Elexum might fall here, but even still, Barrage definitely in the driver's
I think the bait was almost perfect, and you actually see Rapio getting swung around by Watson there. No more mana though, but still a tier 2 tower picked up for Barrage, and what was only about a 2 to 3k lead.
Woof.
Now a 9,000 gold lead in the matter of just 2 minutes. This game has absolutely exploded for Barrage.
Right there, that first plateau, you see, that right there is the lead that RvL goes, okay, absolutely no problem. You can deal with that lead. And then the second jump is, all right, guys, I'm a little worried. And then that launch up to the top is, so what are we banning in game 2?
I mean, it was a nice thought from RvL, right? They had lost the Gold Fury. The Raijin ult was down, you know, one of the biggest team fighting ults for Barrage outside of the Fear No Evil. So like, let's get this tower. But the problem was 4 members grouped up for the taunt. And I got to give so much credit to Awe, not only for this set or this game, but last set as well. So incredible on the Bacchus, 2 games in a row, just very aggressive. And he is such a phenomenal player to just set up his team in all situations.
So we overuse the term meta a lot, but it's become standard practice to the team that loses the Gold Fury engages on the tier 1 tower and gets it relatively for free. But sometimes we don't think about the deeper meaning why that happens. It's because all of the ultimates have been expended. Well, Proxy, the Fear No Evil, the arguably most important team fight ultimate on the side of Barrage was still available. Couple that with the amazing taunt out of Awe and what seems like, okay, the team that lost the Gold Fury gets the tier 1. Not the case, because all of those boxes weren't checked, and Awe and Proxy turned everything on its head. It's 9-3, and RvL are trailing by 10.
And now with that 9k gold lead, Barrage, they've got about an item level lead across every single player, and they're starting to abuse that. Deep into the jungle on the right-hand side, Watson in the front line, and he's going to wall bringer to the back, but he's only got the support, and now he's actually going to find a 2-man knockup, and Fear No Evil does so much as well. Gnome is able to juke out just in time, but Atonement's being chased down to the right side, and right now RvL doing a pretty good job of kiting, but Elexum over the wall with that Thunder Crash doing so much damage, and it's going to be a tier 2 looked at as well.
So just pushing RvL out of here, right? Like you said, RvL did a fantastic job of mitigating what Barrage wanted to bring to them, and eventually actually does wind up having a successful defensive set against the incursion of Team RvL over here on the right-hand side.
Looking for the taunt, but he's off the mark, and Gnome still trying to poke away here, but he needs to be careful. Oh, and Xbalanque, his dash is down,
This is
and
the
it's going to
fight.
be a fearless, but he actually is able to avoid it. Proxy somehow getting very low, but managed to jump over the wall, is going to be chased down, needs one more hit, and Rapio finds it. And now it looks like RvL finally able to poke out Barrage exactly how they wanted, but All doesn't want to give up just yet. Still finding the taunt, and Watson to the back finds 2.
This is exactly the fight that RvL needs to take. They're down 10K. They know if they win this fight, they can win a lot of things off of it. But unfortunately, Watson has different plans. Gnome's going to take a seat. Zenborne gets taunted as well. Everybody on Barrage looking at something different, and it's just not good in the pudding for Team RvL. Jeron, it doesn't matter. He's killing it, and he's 2-0-5, and he's looking to stretch it.
I mean, I'm looking at Rapio. Look at him in the back line. He's just still alive somehow. The Raijin ult finally back off cooldown, and it's going to be Jeron to finish him off. Oh, Atonement pushed into Barrage once again. And RvL maybe overexerting themselves. They did find some nice kills at the beginning, but still just hanging around. Still, though, they don't lose any objectives, which is probably the most critical part of that, only losing players.
Exactly. That's the fight that RvL has to take. Key point, there's no objectives to take because of the players. Enough players died, so Fire Giant isn't available just yet for Barrage. They have to back first before they can go back. And like you said, or like I said, rather, when you're down, you do have to find these engagements that you can fight on, and that's the engagement that RvL has to take. Unfortunately for them, losing that means that they will lose to Fire Giant. So now RvL has to stand underneath one of their towers.
I mean, this isn't over just yet. 50% right now. Xbalanque is going to see what's going on, finds the counter ward, but he's not going to risk going in there, and the Fear No Evil is just going to make sure he can't get in.
Wonderful.
And a very clean Fire Giant from Barrage, and I would imagine they're going to be looking to disengage after burning that Batz ultimate, and that's exactly what they're doing. Just making sure every member stays alive and then grouping back up as 5 after spending their gold.
I am so impressed with our junglers today. Rapio had a fantastic set earlier.
Even this game he's playing well.
This game he's playing well. I think it has more to do with the pick than anything else.
Yeah.
Rapio is the type of jungler that I want to see him on something that can be proactive. Nemesis is really, like I said, just straight utility until the late game. I want to see Rapio with more scissors in his hand, you know, something to do with it. But Proxy has been an absolute asset to his team today, whether it's successfully just doing what we saw on the Fire Giant, making sure nobody can come in, setting up the kills for himself. Proxy has had a whale of a game.
And I think the biggest problem right now on the other side is that Rapio's gone into this Nemesis, which, you know, late game it's great because you pick one target and you can chain them down by yourself, but Nemesis early game is really about setting up for your mage to burst. And they've got a Zhong. They don't have that mage burst, so even if they steal 50% of the protections, they can't immediately eliminate that target. And just a really good job by Awe. He's always there defensively. Watson in the backline just distracting opponents, and then Awe can just protect his team. They've got mobility on their side as well, so there's really no potential follow-up for that Nemesis. Now, Tier 2 is going to fall on the left-hand side, and it's going to be a Gold Fury once again. Excuse me, as Barrage has a pretty significant lead.
Speaking earlier about Watson and the solo laner sort of catching up, I think we're also seeing the team catch up. Very early in the season, and even before the SCL was a thing, we saw Watson and 4 dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was sort of what was going on. Now, we have mentioned Watson because he's made a couple of fantastic plays doing what he does, but now you also have Awe and Proxy and Elexum taking part in those fantastic plays.
And like Jeron, we're not really mentioning him too much, but
Neith. He's doing what he needs to.
But he's top damage right now, and he was in the last set as well, just topping the charts, right? He's kind of quiet. We're not seeing him making these, you know, super flashy plays, but that's fine. He's just playing the Hunter role like it's kind of, you know, quote unquote meant to be, where he's just sitting in the back line and he's swinging away. He's just doing as much damage as possible, getting people low, and then he lets other people secure and be the stars.
It just so happens that a lot of our current stars are in the Hunter role, but, you know, a lot of times there's a lot of wiggle room for who wants to be your hard carry in Smite. And here, Jeron certainly making it happen, but allowing his team to really sort of get some of the more highlight plays, and Jeron just doing it. He's going to get jumped on here, bat flipped out, but RvL, this is how they want to fight, Kevin. Pushing the enemy out. Down goes the ultimate for Proxy, and Barrage looking to turn this one around.
And just look at this, fighting as a team right now. Barrage as a 5-man unit, now only 4, but the knock into Gnome. Gnome trying to get out there, no ultimate, and Neith split splits the upright and actually secures him. And now it's going to be a Phoenix looked at as Zenborne is taunted and just immediately followed up by Barrage. Really nice 3-man knockup, but there's no follow-up to finish off the players. Watson dives real deep into the Phoenix, finishing him off. And now it's 4-on-2. Phoenix still looked at, and Watson just being a big bully in the back line.
Yeah, he's just sitting here making sure nobody can really aggress onto his players like Jeron. Get a backflip out of the way, and Rapio now finally coming into himself as the Nemesis does in the late game. But right, Phoenix already has suffered the consequences, and now Barrage going to focus on the second.
Need to be careful though about the Xbalanque, and honestly, they're not focusing on the Phoenix, and Barrage are going to have to run, but this could be a pretty good chase. You can see Headhunter going a different direction. He trusts in Rapio to finish off Watson there, but he's actually going to be pushed back in. This is going to be trouble for Rapio trying to get away as Batz has rotated back in. Atonement should help peel, and he is going to be successful. All very low. Still finds the taunt though, and the autos are on point for the Neith here. Atonement trying to get in, but I mean, it's just a Zhong, and he's just waddling up.
It's too late in the game for you not to be super afraid of those taunts. Proxy almost gets a kill just with the ultimate alone, and Watson's going to clean it up, but Elexum takes it first. So it's Watson and Elexum just sort of dealing with everything. Proxy, well, he's got to pick up the red buff.
Got to get the red buff here. And the rotation from Bacchus is back in, so we saw a pretty extended engagement happen once again. Barrage getting the better end of it. They got a Phoenix on the right-hand side as well as more kills. But, I mean, most of that kind of reliant around that the fight went on so long that Rival were just able to respawn and then chase deep, but just not enough damage to finish off the kills they want.
And that's, you know, Rival are looking for these longer engagements, but the problem is now they're down. I mean, when I say they're down, you're talking 18,000, right? Yeah, 18,000 gold. This is 27, 28 minutes. This is when Rival wants to do it. This is when they want to bang. But the problem is they're just too far behind at this point. The game that Rival needs to play is stall city. The way that they tried to get the fight over here on the right side, Phoenix, Kevin, where they pushed out and made sure that the enemy couldn't fight on the Phoenix, that's what Rival needs to do for the next 10 minutes. Can they do that for 10 minutes? That's the real question here.
Well, they're going to be up against a Fire Giant team once again. They held last time, although probably not to exactly what they wanted here. And, I mean, look at this Xbalanque. I mean, he doesn't even have 50 stacks.
Yeah.
He's still trying to finish those off. And I think, actually, they're getting stolen by Nemesis here. All going to find Zenborne isolated alone, but no follow-up. Barrage is not in position, and there's 2 members on the left-hand side, so Rival are trying to do a split push fight, but they have 2 members over there. There's no way they can defend this middle Phoenix 3v5. I mean, that's just walking into death. They've got to give it up.
Yeah, the Phoenix is going to go down. That's number 2, but the Tier 1 tower goes down. The Tier 2 tower will inevitably go down as well. So Team Rival trying to push this, but they're going to lose all 3 Phoenixes for their efforts.
And I don't even know if that's worth. And actually, they're going to try to trade
they have to
at
trade.
least 1 Phoenix at this point. The Xbalanque ult just used to get that range, and it is going to be a Phoenix, but look at this, piling in Barrage. They're not having any of it. They have the 2-man advantage, and they're pressuring forward. Raijin ult going to be good, and they're going straight for the Titan. Gnome manages to get back into Fountain, and there's the knockup from Zenborne. Going to find 3. Titan at 50%. Here's the Neith ult as well, and the Athena ult on top. Proxy finds Zenborne. Jeron finds Gnome, and the Titan can't survive. Barrage successfully take game 1 in this set. As Rival try with so far down, they got to try something, just wasn't worth in the end.
You know, I liked that play. Like I said, the goal of Rival there at the end was really just a stall. They said, all right, Barrage are going to make their last push. We have to stall for about 10 to 15 minutes. As soon as Barrage showed up in the mid lane, I think Rival was like, we're not stalling for 10 to 15 minutes. Let's try the split push strategy. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. Once that Phoenix went down, I would have liked to see Xbalanque stay on the Titan and the other player head back home. I think 4-on-5 plus a Titan, you've got a little bit more wiggle room there. But either way, I like the creativity coming out, and I'm eager to see what happens in game 2.
We're going to see.